Welcome to the latest episode of the Forecast in 5. I'm your host, Seth Katz. Joining us today is George Pfeffer. George serves as CEO of DPR Construction. In this role that George assumed in 2021, he strategically guides DPR's $10 billion plus global organization, helping to build a culture of trust and belonging for more than 12,000 employees. George has amassed many success stories during his more than 30-year construction career and has overseen some of DPR's largest and most complex projects. He joined DPR in 1992 as a project engineer and has grown along with the company with positions both in the field and in the office. Welcome, George. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Seth. I'm honored to be here.
Great. Let's get started with the questions. In 1990, your three founders, Doug Woods, Peter Nosler, and Rod Davidowski, set out to build something different in an industry traditionally resistant to change when they started DPR Construction in Redwood City, California. Decades later, DPR serves customers around the world, building complex and sustainable projects of all sizes for some of the most notable companies on the planet. What sets DPR apart from its competition?
Seth, I love the question. It's when you say it, it just makes me think. It's pretty amazing. Here we are several decades later, and the core pieces are the same. And so what's different is we really started with culture first. We started with that we can do construction, but if we really create an organization that cares about people, that has a purpose, a true purpose, something that's a north light we constantly have, core principles, core values. And then our true beliefs of we really exist to build great things. We have a culture that respects the individual, and our desire is to change the world. And those things are still true today as day one. And you don't see many construction companies built day one on that and still thriving today in the same thing. So intentionally different.
Outstanding to learn more. A significant point in the history of DPR was a meeting in the spring of 1992 with Jim Collins, built to last mega seller author and teacher of enduring great companies. Can you reflect on that meeting and what kind of impact that had for DPR?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. There was this guy named Jim Collins who was a professor at Stanford at the time, hadn't really written many books, and so he was teaching a seminar, an open seminar that some of our founders went to, and it was really all about, if you're going to start a company, focus on the right things first. Of course, eventually you're going to have strategy, and you're going to have an ability to make money, obviously, but it's focus on what do you want to be about? What is it about? And he really forced us to take time. We actually had a session with him at Fogarty Winery, where at the time, pretty much everybody from the company was there. And it was a lot of homework. It was like he forced us to dig deep, to think deep, to you build buildings, but why are you doing this? What do you really want to do different? And he really helped us come up with it, make us dig deeper, come with our purpose, which is to build great things, and our core values, being ever forward, being unique, integrity. And you know what? We should have fun doing this. And those are our four core values. Still hold true today, by the way.
What an amazing story. It was impressive to read about your many accomplishments to DPR during the course of your career. Is there a memorable project that stands out that you had the opportunity to be a part of?
It's so funny. I've been focusing on sort of the thought here in the word project versus opportunity, because if you really think about everything as an opportunity, your life can be very different. And I think for me, it's weird because I've done lots of construction projects, but I had the opportunity in the late 90s to be part of and lead the conversion of our entire cost accounting and project management system. And so basically I was tied into every portion of the company. And I came to find out later, maybe I was the second or third person they asked. I guess I was just not smart enough to say no, but I took the opportunity as a dig in and figure it out. And with that, God, I got exposed to so many different parts of the company that I hadn't been before, exposed to how the overall total business runs. And when I got done with that project, even though I had no programming, I really wasn't programming in the way the programming was done there. I didn't really have an accounting degree, but I had to learn all that along the way with experts. And it helped transform me because I used that knowledge and became a better project manager on projects after that. And it just helped me have a broader understanding of the business. It was unbelievably helpful to me in my later portions of life. Absolutely.
Appreciate you reflecting on that. DPR is well recognized for its shared leadership model. Would you be able to explain this model and what it means for someone like you who leads this organization?
It is part of who we are. It's part of being different. We have a saying, and at DPR, our saying is, it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. And if you walk into our conference rooms, there's a list of rules in every conference room, and a couple of them are, hey, nothing is spelled wrong, meaning write whatever you want, don't criticize spelling, but it's about every voice in the room counts, and it's a safe zone. So those two things are, we want people to bring themselves, and so you have to find ways to create environments where people feel comfortable talking. Like, you can't just say to somebody, you're in a room of 20, hey, we want to hear from everybody. Different people are different. They have, some of them aren't as confident, some of them are extroverts, and some of them are introverts. And so you have to find ways to create environments where people can speak up. And so what do I do as a leader? At times I try to, if somebody is so confident that they come off 100% right, to shut the conversation down. Well, listen, I hear you, but you're really only 95% right. Let's really try to get those other 5% out of other people. And it's really trying to really understand the dynamic of the room, the leadership team, and try to elicit as much input from everybody as you can. And so you also got to earn your way in by being willing to share your input.
Excellent. Since we have many UC Anderson students watching who are determined to move into a CEO role for a global company, would you be able to share some words of advice for these future leaders?
In a ton of these, it's a little bit like a joke. Don't overthink things and think you have to say no to stuff. I find an opportunity, it can be everything you put yourself into. If you look at it as nothing, it'll be nothing. If you look at it as an opportunity and you put yourself and everything you have into it, you will get as much out of it now as you have before. Now, if you're doing the same exact thing over and over again, I guess there is a way to say, hey, what am I really learning new? Don't overthink. Don't think that you really have everything so figured out. I think what I've learned in my career, if I looked back 30 years, 40 years, I thought I knew so much. And what I learned along the way by allowing myself to do things that maybe wouldn't have been my first choice, I've learned so much more now that I thought I knew back then. It's so funny because everything is so interconnected. You might know specific pieces really well, but it's all the interconnectedness that you learn and you can dive into that then furthers your career later. It's like understanding as much about how another function works that you might not do as you do about what your focus is. It makes you a better leader, understanding more about the other pieces.
Outstanding points. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks again for being with us today, George.
Well, thank you, Seth. It's been a joy. Awesome.
Thanks. And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of the Forecast in 5.